Your mother is still alive. You could call her right now, and yet you've been grieving her for years, quietly, privately, in a way no one around you seems to understand. There's no funeral for this, no casserole, no sympathy card, just a parent who is right there, and a loss you've never been allowed to name.
Before you feel disloyal for even being here, stay with me, because what you're carrying has a name, and naming it changes everything. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this grief is, why it's surfacing now after all these years, and why letting yourself feel it is not a betrayal of her. It's the beginning of being honest with yourself. You do not have to wait for a funeral to grieve someone, so stay with me. This is the part no one explains.
And I want to say one thing before we go any further, because I suspect you've needed to hear it for a long time. The fact that she is still alive does not mean you haven't lost her. Some of the deepest losses a person can carry have no death in them at all. No date, no grave, nothing anyone else can see. That is exactly why they're so lonely. So let's take this one out of the dark and look at it plainly, together.
You know it in the small moments. A friend complains that her mother calls too much, and something in you goes quiet. Mother's Day arrives, and you honestly don't know what you're allowed to feel. You hang up after another short conversation that left you strangely hollow, and you can't explain to anyone why a parent who is right there can feel so much like a loss. That ache is not you being dramatic or ungrateful. It has a shape and a name. Let's give it one.
Notice how much energy goes into hiding it. In the card aisle, you reach for something that says, "Thinking of you," instead of the ones that gush, because the gushing ones would be a lie, and you can't bring yourself to write it. At family gatherings, you perform a closeness that drains you. You've gotten so practiced at translating the truth into something acceptable that you barely register the cost anymore. But the body keeps the tally. That quiet that comes over you is not nothing. It's grief, wearing the only clothes it's allowed to wear in public. What you're feeling has a name. It's called ambiguous loss, grief for someone who hasn't died. You are mourning a person who is physically here but emotionally gone, or who never fully arrived in the first place. And because the world only recognizes grief when there's a body to bury, you've had to carry this one alone, half convinced you don't even have the right to feel it. You do. This is real grief. It just doesn't come with permission. The term comes from a researcher named Pauline Boss, who spent her career studying exactly this, the losses that stay unresolved because they never come with the rituals that let us grieve. When someone dies, the world knows what to do. There is a service, a casket, a line of people who take your hand and say they're sorry. Every one of those is a small permission slip. Yes, this happened. Yes, you may mourn. Ambiguous loss hands you none of them. There is no service for a mother who is alive and unreachable. No one brings a casserole for the childhood you didn't get. So the grief has nowhere to go, and it does what ungrieved grief always does. It goes underground and waits. And here is the cruelty of the thing. The very absence of a death is what convinces you your pain isn't real. She's still here, you tell yourself, so what's my problem? But still here is precisely the wound. You are close enough to keep hoping and never close enough to be met. That gap between the mother in the room and the mother you needed is not a small thing you should be over by now. It is the whole grief, and it deserves the same honesty a death would get. There are really two losses tangled together here, and it helps to pull them apart. The first is the parent you have now, distant, critical, self-absorbed, or simply not able to meet you. The second, and the heavier one, is the parent you never had, the one who would have known you, protected you, been curious about your life. So you're not only grieving who she is, you're grieving who she was never able to be, and the child who needed her and went without. Both of those are worth mourning. Most people only let themselves feel the first one. Sit with that second loss for a moment, because it's the one that hides. It's easy to catalog the disappointments of the parent you actually have, the phone calls that are all about her, the birthdays forgotten, The way a hard day of yours becomes somehow a hard day of hers. That grief is loud and you know it well. But underneath it is a quieter one you've probably never let yourself say out loud. There was supposed to be someone who delighted in you, someone whose face lit up when you walked in, someone who wanted to know what you thought and how you were and who you were becoming. That person was owed to you, and the child you were waited and adjusted and finally stopped expecting, and no one ever mourned that with you because no one ever knew. You can grieve both at once, the mother who is and the mother who never was. They are not the same loss, and pretending they are is part of what's kept you stuck. Name them separately, and each one gets lighter, because a grief you can see is a grief you can finally carry instead of drag.
This grief often stays quiet for decades and then surfaces hard in midlife. Maybe your own children reach the age you were when you stopped expecting anything. Maybe your parent is aging now, and you realize the repair you were secretly waiting for is never going to come. The window is closing, and some part of you finally understands what you've avoided for years. She is not going to become the mother you needed. Not now, not ever. And so you find yourself grieving a hope, not just a person.
There's a reason it waits until now. For most of your adult life, you were busy building a career, a marriage, children of your own, and the hope stayed useful. As long as she was healthy and time felt endless, you could keep the door propped open. Maybe this year, maybe when things settle, maybe when she's older and softer. Hope like that is a kind of anesthetic. It lets you not feel the loss because the loss hasn't finished happening yet. But midlife changes the math. You watch yourself parent your own child with an ease she never managed, and the contrast is its own quiet grief. Or her health slips, and suddenly the timeline you were counting on has an end. The door you propped open all these years starts, gently, to close, and everything you were postponing arrives at once. What surfaces then isn't only sadness about her. It's the death of a specific future, the one where she finally turns around and becomes who you needed. Letting go of that future feels like a betrayal, as if you're giving up on her. You're not. You're grieving a hope that was keeping you from your own life. And a hope you never grieve is a hope that quietly runs you forever.
And then comes the guilt because she's still alive, so who are you to mourn her? You feel disloyal, ungrateful even, especially if from the outside nothing looks wrong. She had a hard life too, she did her best, she's elderly now and frail. All of that can be true, and you are still allowed to grieve what you didn't get. Compassion for her and grief for yourself are not in competition. You're allowed to hold both at the same time in the same heart.
Both. That's the word this whole beat turns on. You do not have to decide that she was a monster in order to earn your grief, and you do not have to decide that she was fine in order to keep your love. Real people are both. She can have been wounded herself, doing the best a wounded person could, and you can still have gone without something you genuinely needed. Holding only her side erases you. Holding only yours erases her. The truth, the livable truth, is that both are real, and you are strong enough to carry both without dropping either.
So here is what I want you to let yourself do. Grieve her now while she's living. Don't wait for the death to give you permission, because the loss already happened. It happened slowly, across your whole childhood, in every moment you reached and found no one reaching back. Name it. Let it be as big as it actually was. Grieving a living parent doesn't mean you hate her, and it doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're finally telling yourself the truth about what was missing, instead of spending another decade waiting for someone who cannot give you what she doesn't have. The grief isn't a betrayal of her. It's the beginning of honesty with yourself.
And something eases when you stop waiting. As long as you're waiting, every interaction is an audition. You keep showing up, hoping this will be the time she finally sees you, and leaving emptied when she doesn't. Grieve the hope, and you can stop auditioning. You can meet the actual woman as she actually is. No more setting yourself up. No more fresh disappointment on top of the old one. That is not coldness. It's the strange, quiet freedom on the far side of a grief you were finally brave enough to feel.
Before I let you go, if this named something you have carried quietly for years, do me one small thing. Like this video so it reaches the next person grieving a parent who is still alive. Subscribe if you'd like to keep doing this gentle work together. And in the comments, if it feels right, what is the one thing you most needed her to see? I read every one. Then tap the bell so the next video finds you.
You were allowed to need a mother. You were allowed to need her to see you and soothe you and be glad that you exist. That need was never too much. It was the most ordinary need a child can have. And if it went unmet, the ache you carry now is not weakness, and it is not disloyalty. It's love that had nowhere to land. So let yourself grieve fully the parent who is sitting right there and was never quite able to reach you, not to punish her, not to close the door, but because grief, faced honestly, is the only thing that has ever set anyone free. You can love someone and still mourn what they couldn't give you. Yours has been holding both for a very long time. Let it finally set some of it down.